say welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. Appreciate the time you dedicate tonight. Especially thanks to our guest of honor as well for for putting together his presentation. My name's Abe. I'm one of the co-leads of the Tug with Chris, Tim, and Ethan. So here's kind of like the schedule for today. We're just going to do introductions, vet to viz story. Our guest speaker will go, and then we'll share some upcoming events and a job board. So if you need a job, stick around. So if you don't know who I am, my name's Abe, Marine Corps veteran. Got out in 2020. Been trying to learn data analytics since then. I feel like I'm just pressing buttons, but that luckily has gotten me to a data analytics consulting job that I've been at since August. Touched a lot of tools, Rivery, Tableau, Power BI, Python, R, mostly Power BI nowadays because that's what our that's where most of our clients are using. I work at NewView Analytics, and yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Any other of the leaders want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. Chris, Marine Corps veteran. I work in the federal government in analytics. I'm a acting lead for my group. Spent a lot of time working at the VA on projects. Met Tim there when I started in 2008. Been with the federal government pretty much ever since. Do a lot of work, same thing as Abe in terms of just all over the place, Python, SQL, Power Query, you name it, dashboarding. So have a lot of experience on that, and happy to be here, part of this group.
Okay, I'll go. I'm Tim. Air Force vet, 4 years in the active Air Force, 6 years in the Air National Guard. After that, like Chris said, I worked at the VA for about 7 years, and right now I work at the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, currently in the Office of Commercial Space Transportation as a strategic planner and a performance measures lead. That's about it. Even.
Hey team, I'll keep it quick. I'm watching my girls and they're screaming over here. But my name's Ethan. I work for Play Fair Data as a consultant. So do consulting with businesses all over the world. Absolutely love it. Been working with Tableau since probably 2013, 2012-ish. So familiar with the tool, love the tool, and obviously veteran myself as an Army vet, so I wanted to get back to the community, so that's why I'm here. But thanks for joining.
Sweet. Thanks, Ethan. Thanks, guys. So if you haven't been a part of our meetings before, we like to do a little segment called Vet to Viz. So essentially, anybody in the audience, veteran or not, just tell a quick story about how you got into the industry, what led you to kind of join this group or join these meetings, and just kind of like answer some of the questions that you see here on the slide. Throwing it out there to any brave volunteers.
Yeah, I'll give it a try. So I'm Al Bellamy, for anyone I haven't seen before. I think I may have missed the last couple of these meetings, so maybe some new faces for me. Yeah, basically as a kid growing up, all I ever wanted to do was math and play war. So I became a Marine for about half my life now, and retired a couple of years ago, and then I decided to just do math for the rest of my life. So I along the way I got a master's in analytics. Don't be too impressed, it was online. And then did my payback tour in the Marine Corps, and yeah, and I retired, and I started working remote. So I really like it here in Eastern North Carolina, and got a nice house for about 1/10 of what it might cost me in New York or California. So I don't feel like moving to either of those places. So yeah, I got a SkillBridge internship at Google, still rocking the swag because nobody else has given me any yet. Yeah, I got into marketing analytics, and so I worked about 1.5 years for Analyst, which is part of Omnicom, and got to play with Tableau quite a bit there. Working on a, suppose I can say now, an account for Disney that was a massive Alteryx workflow, which just bumped up my Alteryx skills, and that fed into a database, which then fed into a Tableau Online giant infographic. So I had to get much better at Alteryx and also Tableau to work on that thing. And along the way, I made enough of a name for myself that Alteryx decided to hire me on. So just started that yesterday. So that is how I got to where I am today.
Thanks for sharing, Al. And don't let him fool you. He is a master at LinkedIn. Like everything I did ever since I got out of transitioning, I just did whatever he said and it worked. So I'd recommend.
Yeah, so
following
I do a content creation challenge. We're starting next Monday. It's called LinkedIn Hard Mode. If you just look up the hashtag, or if you just follow me, if you're not sick of my content already. 30 straight days, you got to put out original content. So I don't make any money off of it. It's all free. It's just fun. Check it out.
Thanks for sharing. Anybody else want to go? Share your story on how you got to data.
So I'll go. My name's Adam Smart, 5-year Navy vet in submarines. Transitioned out of the military, got into a few different career paths, ultimately ended up in retail. While I was in retail, we were using a lot of reporting and got interested in that side of things. So then I picked up a couple of online courses, specifically the Google Data Analytics course. Found out that I really liked data, and then just looked at different roles that were available within my company. All they had to do that was for the store operation side. I've been doing that for about 7 years now. And I really enjoy the work. Challenges faced on the journey. I think when you get out of the military, you kind of have an idea like, I think this, career path is going to be best for me. You don't really know. Most of the time you can do it overseas. You don't really have the ability to go kind of walk the job and do those activities. So don't rush it when you get out. Take that time to find what you really enjoy. Go for it. Utilize the benefits. Do all that good stuff and get after it.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Adam. Anybody else? Think we got time for one more?
I'll go.
Great.
I'm new to the group, by the way. So,
Welcome.
So my name is Jerry Schmidt, and currently I'm actually a sales operations manager. So I wouldn't say I'm strictly data analysis. Specifically what I do is kind of just keep things on the rails on the sales team. So anything from process all the way to actual some data analytics and everything. I would like it to be more on that side with my role right now, but that's just not how it's working out at this current company. I was in the Army Reserves, and so did my deployment, all that kind of stuff. So on and off active duty like 3 times. So I have like 3 DD-214s. What led me to this group is I was at Tableau conference in 2019 and, went to one of the morning breakfasts, and I just didn't really know, right now I'm kind of just looking for community and looking for a way to kind of get my foot in the door a little bit in other places. So, and then what challenges have I faced? I did not take a traditional route to this at all. I started as an order manager. So I actually started as a temp at a company and then became an order manager and was really good at that. And then over time, because I understood the systems really well, people are like, well, hey, could you put that spreadsheet together for me? Hey, could you pull this data? And then it kind of blossomed into a business analyst job, and they ended up having Tableau, and they're like, well, nobody uses this. Maybe you can make something with it. And I did. So, and I really love it. Love the tool. And I've just been trying to dig in as much as I can. So, That's a lot of the challenges actually, trying to learn when you don't have a background in analytics and then being taken seriously when you don't necessarily have like the formalized background. And so my transition out of military looked a little different just because I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out the entire time. But it was difficult because, went to school full time, worked full time, all that kind of thing. So that's what my transition was like. And my level of experience is, I would say, I would say I'm an intermediate user of Tableau at this point. I have done, Tableau certification, all that stuff, has been using it for several years, but then transitioned off Tableau for a while because of other companies. They went to Power BI, then I went to some other things, and then now I'm back to Tableau again.
Cool. Hey, Jerry, what breakfast were you at? I think, did they have that military breakfast at that conference, or was that the one prior?
Yeah, it was the military breakfast at the one, and it was like upstairs. I want to say it was like the second floor, and it was cool. It was
Yeah, I was there too. I handed out like business cards for this tug actually.
Yeah, and it was one of those things that I kind of was in and out because, like I said, like right after that, I had left the company that was doing Tableau, and then they went to Microsoft BI, Power BI, and then now, coming back. So now I'm like, okay, let's get our feet wet again.
Yeah, cool.
Small world. Thanks for sharing. Well, now, drum roll. It is time to present our guest speaker. He doesn't have his beard anymore, but our guest speaker tonight is Doc Kevin Lee Elder. He's a research professor of analytics at LTU, Louisiana Tech University. He's also a research director for Dresden Advisory Services, but then also he's also the America's Lead for Viz for Social Good. And if you haven't heard about it, I'm sure he will explain what they are. But they're an organization essentially dedicated to building visualizations for social causes. But I'm sure he'll explain much better than I can. So, without further ado, Doc, I'm going to pass it off to you.
All right, very good. Thanks. Before I bring my my talk up, I got to show some of my challenge coins. Here's my Air Force coin from the time when I was teaching at the Air Force Institute of Technology. I had a few Navy guys. Here's my Navy challenge coin with my Navy guys. I got to do some projects with the CIA. So there's one of my CIA coins. And unfortunately, I moved in July, and I don't know where the rest of my challenge coins are. So I'm like, where did they go? I was going to pull them out and have fun with those, and I can't find them. So maybe at a future meeting, I'll find them. I can go through and show them. But I was an Army brat. My dad was in the Army, and he had 4 sons. He wanted a daughter. I was the 4th son. He gave up having a daughter. But what that meant was Dad, every Saturday, or every 4th Saturday, every 4th Saturday, all the boys would line up in the garage and we'd get our buzz cut. And so I grew up in that kind of environment. My one of my older brothers enlisted in the Army to go to Vietnam, volunteered to be a helicopter pilot of all things. But unfortunately for him, he was colorblind, just like I'm totally colorblind. And they eventually caught him and said, nope, you can't be a helicopter pilot, which if any of you know the history of Vietnam and the helicopter pilots in Vietnam, it's good that he didn't go as a helicopter pilot to Vietnam. When 9/11 hit, I decided I wanted to do something, but none of the services are going to take me at that age. So I got a job at the Air Force Institute of Technology, teaching information resource management in their master's program there. And they brought in some of the first enlisted students when I was there. So people hear Air Force Institute of Technology, and it's on Wright Pat Air Force Base, but we actually had all 5 services there taking classes. One of my students was a Coast Guard member, and she was actually a helicopter pilot. And her call sign was boats of all things, and she was a helicopter pilot. She was great. I love my Marine students, man. My Marine students were the best. If I needed something done, they'd get it done for me. And, you know, quite honestly, the other guys, hey, go ahead, go to it, guys, get it done. But I love the Marines, love the Navy folks that I had. I never had any Army folks though. Being an Army brat, I never had any Army folks take my classes at AFIT, but I've always been a supporter of the veterans and always wanting to help them out. And I know when I'm going to hear from my former students at AFIT, because they contact me when they're getting out and they're like, hey, Doc, I'm getting out. Can you help me transition over to industry? And so I'm always trying to help those guys out when they retire from the military and want to go to get into the industry. I've been a professor for 30 plus years. I've got alumni all over the place, all over the world. But I also work in industry quite a bit. In fact, when the pandemic hit and I was just teaching in my home office and the students were just waiting for the recordings to be posted and it never came to class anymore, I just brought in professors for the day. And so I love to bring people in from industry to come in, get a feel for what it's like to teach these young kids, you know, this is what's going on in industry. So for all the leads that did their intros and for some of you all that have some experience, I'll be starting to teach my first analytics class at my new university here in March. So I'll be looking for some professors for a day. So, you know, look me up if you'd like to be a professor for the day. It's really fun to help educate folks, make a difference in their life. So I went to JLL for a while and did the industry thing for a while. But that was so I could work remote and take care of my mom. But my mom got sick and real fast and passed away on me. And the only thing she would say on her 5 weeks, basically being on the deathbed, is, you love being a professor, go back to teaching. So gave my notice at JLL, looked around for some university jobs, found this one at Louisiana Tech where I can help build up their analytics program. In the interim, Howard Dresner offered me a job as an industry analyst, which has been a lot of fun. I get to have all kinds of NDA presentations from analytics companies telling me this is what they're doing, this is what's going on. We give them some advice. We collect a lot of data from users. I would encourage you guys to check out Dresner Associates and their Wisdom of the Crowd surveys that they do. And so I'm an industry analyst, and that's actually where I met Tim and Ethan. We were standing in line to get our IDs at the last Tableau conference in Vegas. And I'm like, hey, I recognize Ethan. And then it's like, oh yeah, this is Tim. Okay, great, guys. I had been to a couple of meetings and I said, hey, I'd love to present sometime. And I got lots of advice I'd love to share. So happy that they invited me back. So that's what I'm doing here today. I also do the Viz for Social Good. I'll catch that at the end here. I'll talk about Viz for Social Good, but basically I'm letting everybody know, hey, I'm not representing Louisiana Tech tonight. I'm not representing Dresner tonight. I'm not representing the Air Force. I'm not representing Tableau. This is Doc Elder, so I'm wearing my Elder sweatshirt. This is one of my dad gifts. In Cincinnati, there's a high school, Elder High School, and they're an all-Catholic school, and they're a powerhouse football program. But they sell Elder merchandise, and so occasionally for Christmas, I'll get some Elder something, and everybody in the family has to get some Elder something that they'll never wear, but I wear mine all the time and have fun with it. So anyway, I'm representing me tonight, not Louisiana Tech. I posted in the chat, for those of you here and in the chat, I posted the URL to go ahead and grab the slides, because my whole point tonight is I want to give you all these slides and give you all these resources and let you go through all these things. And I'm just going to fly through some of them and give my my take on analytics and what it takes to get in the field and what you should know and what are all the different paths you can go. Of course, I'm a college professor, so you know, getting a degree is the best route. But I also know getting a college degree is not the route for everybody. It's definitely not. My son went to Georgia Tech and went to work for Google. And after he went to work for Google, Google has now changed their stance, and Google says you don't need a college degree. You just absolutely don't need it. And they are hiring lots of folks without college degrees. My son wanted to go out early and not finish his degree. And I said, if I was anything but a college prof, I'd let you, but I'm a college prof. You got to finish that degree. It's going to be valuable to you. There's lots of reasons to get a degree. And so it's there. So the slides are there, lots of resources I tried to put on there. But of course, ever since I posted it, I thought of 5 more things I want to add on there. So it's a bunch of slides, and but I basically just want to talk about, what's analytics, what are the jobs that are out there, have you think about what's on your resume, what's missing from what I'm talking about, how could you go about filling those holes, lots of ways you can do that, and you can really get to any of these jobs. That's what I love about this field, is you don't have to have an analytics degree. Albert was saying earlier, you got a master's in this. That is great. I love to hear it. I'm going to show you one of my favorite schools in their master's degree, but you don't need to. Don't have to do that. There are lots of paths into these jobs, into these resources. I'm also the absent-minded professor, so I lose my train of thought very easily. So feel free to jump in and stop me and ask a question, because then I have the excuse, oh, now what was I saying? Rather than me just saying, what was I saying? And nobody interrupted me. So feel free to just jump in, ask questions. We can dive all over the place. I'll skip through the slides, hit the main points I want to hit. I'm really going to be happy to have this recording, because I wanted to do this and make it available so that anybody can look and see, hey, anybody can get into analytics. So that's my spiel. So I got to put in some comics in here. Of course, my students know I always got to try and throw some humor in. Analytics, worried that everybody else is doing it while you're just watching, right? Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's doing it. Everybody thinks, oh, I've got imposter syndrome. I couldn't do this. No, everybody can do this. Everybody has some background, has some abilities, has things you can bring to the table. But again, what is analytics? I like this slide here for just a basic intro to analytics. Companies have lots of data, and today we've got a lot more data than ever before. Everybody has a lot of data. So what are you trying to do with that data? Well, first of all, we're trying to figure out, well, what's happening, right? What's happening out there? And so that data should be able to inform you, what are we selling? What's our product? What's our service? How are we doing? What's our income? What's our sales? What's inventory? What has been happening? That's the first step. You got to have that. Can't jump to the other. You got to follow these in order pretty much. So what's been happening? You got to have the data. You've got to have a system so we can report and dashboards and all these systems, to print out receipts and sales and tax forms and whatever. Got to do your descriptive analytics first. What has been happening? And a lot of companies, that's as far as they get. Yep, this is what's happening, and we know what's happening. Some companies don't even really know what's happening. They're still trying to figure it out, and they're getting run over. Second level is diagnostics analytics. Why is this happening? So you got to dig in more. You've got to understand more in order to try and figure out, okay, I know what's happening, but I'm not sure why it's happening, right? And so you've got to pull in more data, and you've got to look at more relationships, and you've got to do more analysis in order to really try and figure out, well, why is this happening? The third stage is, okay, what's going to happen next? Can we take the data that we have, the history that we have, and predict what's going to happen today? And so again, I love to use examples of Walmart, right? Walmart is so much fun. Everybody has a Walmart within a half an hour of you, right? Is anybody farther than a half an hour? That's how I know you live way out somewhere. If you're more than a half an hour from a Walmart, go to the Walmart in the morning. It's usually about 9:30. They'll have their floor meeting out there with their managers, and they're going to run through some descriptive analytics, and they're going to run through some prescriptive analytics. Here's what we sold yesterday. Here's the temperature today. So, hey, it's going to be sunny. Grab those sunglasses, pull them out. It's going to be raining. Here in Louisiana today, it is dumping. Pull out those rain umbrellas and ponchos and all that stuff that people are going to want to buy today, because the weather helps us know what's going to happen in our sales inside of our Walmart. Yesterday, our top sales area was candy, because we're getting close to Valentine's Day. And so everybody was buying chocolates and putting them away, so they had them. So they're really good at predicting what's going to happen. They know what's going to happen. I mean, it used to be Walmart would put a lot of stuff on sale and clearance. Now they don't. They sell it. And when Christmas is over, they pretty much have sold most of that stuff. They got a little bit to put on clearance, but they're pretty good at predicting this is what's going to happen. Fourth level is prescriptive analytics. Okay, we're predicting things are not going to be that very good. How can we change it so that we can change our prediction that's going to be better? Or no, we like that prediction. How can we make sure that prediction is going to happen? So again, Walmart's one of my favorite examples for that. When I taught at Georgia Southern, the parents would come in with their pickup trucks and their freshmen, and they'd drop them off at the dorm, and then they'd drive over to Walmart to get the stuff they needed in the dorm. Well, Walmart knows this, and they want to sell a lot of the stuff. So in a lot of stores, they'll clear off an aisle, right? Back to school, and here's all the things you need for back to school. Well, in Georgia Southern and Statesboro, they went in the back and they shrink wrapped on pallets. Here's the mini fridge you need. Here's the little bookcase. Here's the different snacks and stuff you'll need. Here's the light, because all the dorms in Georgia Southern were dark. And so everybody's like, give me a light, get a light in the corner. They shrunk wrap all those things, and they would just say, here, just take this tag, take up front, get your credit card out, pay for it at once, pull the truck around, we'll drop it in the back, drive it over to the dorm. Your kids got everything they need. We'll give you a discount on that. But yeah, they can predict, man, they were selling a lot of those pallets to those parents and sending them over. And so, that's kind of the progression of analytics. That's what companies are trying to do. So I tell my students, try and find the ones that are doing predictive, because those are the ones that's where most good companies are. They're refining that prediction, and they're trying to do better, right? The Targets, the Home Depots, the Lowe's. I like to call them the NASCARs. They can spend $15 million to stick their name on the hood of that NASCAR. They probably got some good analytic systems, and it's a really good place to start, get that good experience, and go from there. Or do the flip side, go to work for Kmart, who doesn't know what's going on. You'll be a star. You can go into them and say, why aren't you guys doing what Walmart's doing? What's wrong? You got the same hardware. You got the same software. You got mostly the same data, but you don't know what to do with it. Whereas Walmart does, because it's people, it's policies, it's procedures. It's not the hardware. Uh-oh, close your ears, Tableau. It's not Tableau. It's what you do with Tableau that makes the difference. And I love using Tableau. That's why I work with the Tableau user groups, and I use Tableau in the classroom. And I used to say it was because Tableau has the best or quickest learning curve. But now I say the reason that it has the quickest learning curve is because of the Tableau community. That Tableau community is so awesome. There are so many resources out there to help you get better at doing things with Tableau, that's why I love to have my students start with Tableau and really get going with Tableau. So, basic analytics is, how many customers have bought what products? How many failures of equipment have we had in the past 3 months? What problems with quality have we experienced in the last month? That's basic analytics. Those predictive analytics companies, they're saying, well, how can we target our customers so we can sell them even more products? Again, think that shrink wrap example. How can we target them and get them to buy more stuff? They're in the store, they're here to buy this. How do we get them to buy more? And that's where those companies started looking and seeing, Well, people who buy this also buy this, right? Have you seen that at Amazon? Hey, I'm looking at this product. People who buy this, they buy that. Well, Walmart does it in their physical stores. And so one of my favorite examples I love to tell is when guys have to go to Walmart and buy diapers, they also buy beer. The two go together. And so Walmart knows that. Most retail stores know that, and the beer and the diapers are not too far away from each other in most stores. Go home, check it out, try it out, see if it's true. So they're trying to figure out how can they sell you more products? How can they analyze it and do more with it? So again, yes, it's the technology, it's the systems, but it's really the data and your ability to use that data to help people make better decisions. How can we make our company more profitable? And so it's not just opinions, but we've actually got data behind it. So Howard Dresner, who I work for part-time on Moonlight, working for Howard, he coined the term business intelligence back when he was a Gartner analyst. And so we do nothing but business intelligence and analytics research and collect the data and do that. So BI is a little bit different, but again, it's still what, when, who, how, why, all those kind of questions. But you know, you're looking at reporting and dashboards, scorecards. You're bringing in info cubes and you're slicing and dicing and filtering and selecting stuff. You know, that's what we typically call business intelligence. When we start talking about that advanced analytics stuff, again, it's a lot more of why did it happen? Is it going to happen again? Is it provable? Is there some statistics behind it? It's the data mining. And so here's where it takes a lot more math and a lot more stats. So I've got a niece that's out there, just loves math and loves stats. I'm like, get into advanced analytics, get into data science. Don't let that math and stat knowledge just sit on the shelf over there. You know, use it, but apply it to a business, apply it to a domain. So when we talk data scientists, it's like, oh, data scientist. Well, that's just a business analyst that lives in California, right? And again, these are Timo Elliott. Timo Elliott is a SAP evangelist, but he's a great cartoonist. He's a great guy. I've actually been able to give a talk with Timo at an SAP conference in a previous lifetime. And so I love Timo. I love his cartoons. So I gave you the links there. If you need some cartoons to liven up your presentations, Timo's got some great ones. So again, BI analysts, data scientists, they're a little different. I just saw this one on LinkedIn, so I had to grab it and throw it in. It's not in your slide deck, but I just saw this one. Here's data management, here's data engineering, and there's the data scientists over there. And at first you're looking at it and you're like, well, what the heck is the data management and data engineering people doing? They're not doing anything. They're just standing there. If they weren't standing there, that data science person would be in a lot of trouble, right? And data scientists can't do anything without those engineers, without those folks getting all that data in there. They got to have the data, but then they've got to know what to do with it. And they've got to have a good platform. So I thought, that's a good visual. I'll throw it in here tonight. Why not? I love these kind of Venn diagrams because, again, this is where I can tell everybody that's here, you could do data science one day. Maybe not today, but you could definitely do data science down the road. Because data science is this combination of, as I've said before, math and stats. It's some computer science, some computer knowledge. Probably want to learn Python, a programming language. You know, you want to learn some computer stuff. But down at the bottom is that subject matter expertise. When you've got a subject matter that you're an expert on and you understand what that data truly represents, that's when you can be a really good data scientist. Without that, you're not going to really be able to help anybody much. You've got to be able to combine all of those things in the middle. And where's my unicorn? If you got all those things down in the middle, well, you're a unicorn and wow, you get paid a lot of money and you can move from job to job and you're guaranteed that, but it's going to take you a while to get there. So again, I grabbed some of these images floating around the internet. It's math and statistics. It's programming in database. It's SQL. It's NoSQL. It's relational logic, map reduced. Depending on what you're doing, we're probably going to throw it on a cloud because we're going to run out of space. So you probably want to know about cloud technology and how to do things on the cloud. But it's also communication and visualization. And a lot of data scientists can't explain to people how they figured this out, how they know what's going on here. And so you've got to be able to tell stories. It's storytelling. It's visual. There's an art to that, just as much as there's a science. And then again, it's domain knowledge and it's those soft skills. Are you curious about data? Do you want to try and influence stuff by having a good logical answer? So again, for my Air Force folks, here's one of my favorite examples to illustrate this. This is a famous story, and I say story because it may be more story than it was actually true, but it makes a great story, so I use it, and I thought it'd be good for you guys. Here they took all these planes coming back from war, and they looked to see where all the bullet holes were, and they said, hey, where all these bullet holes are, we got to reinforce these planes so they don't crash and they don't get shot down. And that was absolutely wrong. Why was it wrong? Somebody want to jump in and say why that was wrong, that where the holes are not where we want to reinforce.
Those are the ones that made it back.
Those are the ones that made it back. So they got shot there and they made it back. Where they got shot, notice the cockpit has no bullet holes. If you get shot in the cockpit, yeah, we may not bring this plane back. If they got shot in the engines, probably brought it down if they were able to get a good direct hit on the engines. And so all those places where there aren't bullet holes, the plane didn't make it back. And so that's where they needed to get it reinforced. So again, you can have all the data in the world. You can have all the visualization in the world. You can have all the analysis in the world, but if you don't understand the domain, don't understand the subject matter, you're going to have a little bit of trouble. So again, there's lots of roles, and they run the gamut across all of those dimensions that I was showing you. So you can be a data analyst, really getting into the data, or you could be a business analyst, more focused on the business side of things and really knowing finance. Or I think somebody earlier was talking about marketing. Marketing analytics is a huge field. You've got a good domain knowledge of marketing, and you know Google Analytics, and you know what's happening when people are hitting your web page. You got a job for life. You got a career for life. You've got companies that will hire you over and over and over. So no matter what background you come from, you can get into one of these positions, and you can start then, once you're inside of the company and you prove your worth and you get more experience in some of the other areas, you can move into almost any area out there in this whole data analytics field. That's what I really love about it. So I love for these lists. And so here's another one off of another site. Here are 68 different jobs that do analytics. From C-suite jobs all the way down to entry-level positions, first job within the company, all the way up to that chief data officer who's overseeing everything in the company. I'll give you some more links to go out and find some stuff. There's lots of things out there. So again, that's why I wanted to just post the slide, post some of these better places to go to start reading up and seeing these things. But again, I'm a prof, so I want to talk about the value of degrees. This was the degree that I designed at my previous university. I got the chance to create the entire degree. And so I said, this is going to be an analytics degree. And you're going to take business classes. You're going to take accounting and business law, econ, basic intro to computing, management, operation management, strategy, marketing, finance, supply chain, international course, BCom, very important, basic math. But then within the degree, within the major, my students took a course in Python. They took a course in database. They took a course in system analysis and design, and they took a course in enterprise systems. Then with that knowledge, I could bring them in and teach them all that analytics, all that BI analytics, and then enterprise performance management. What are we going to do with this to make our company more profitable, more efficient? And then they had an infrastructure networking kind of class because everything's moving to the cloud right now. So you better understand the cloud and what's going on there. And then these things are all happening in projects. So you've got to understand the system development lifecycle and basic project management. Or if your organization is agile, then you've got to understand the agile methodology and product management and overseeing products rather than projects. Two different ways of looking at that. Now, if you've got a lot of business background, then I recommend to my students get a more technical degree. You've got business experience, a lot of your military experience, you've got a lot of background in a lot of that area. Go study the technology more and learn more about the technology, because my degree just kind of introed you to a lot of those things so you're ready to go. But when you're talking about databases, I'd much rather you could get in and start looking at data warehouses and data lakes and data architecture, get more into Six Sigma and Scrum and product management. If you want to learn more about those areas, learn more about storytelling and predictive analytics, or work more on the cloud and tooling side of things.
Hey Doc, can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
What do you think, or like, I guess is my question. So like, what do you think about at my university, they had MBA in business intelligence and data analytics? Is that like becoming more of a popular thing? Because all I've ever seen is like just masters and
yeah, we're seeing a lot more MBA programs have where you can have kind of like an emphasis in it. And most of them are saying, yeah, we're going to do analytics. And all it really means is within your MBA, your elective classes are all going to be analytics, rather than taking another finance or marketing or strategy course or whatnot, because everybody's doing analytics. They're all doing analytics. It's marketing analytics, it's finance analytics, it's supply chain analytics. That's what's really out there. So again, here's the University of Denver and their program. And again, it's business analytics, it's Python, it's database. And then, hey, they've got some predictive analytics. Kind of cool to see that. And then they take a couple of electives, data warehouse, data mining, maybe some modeling in R if you like programming. Most people don't like programming, don't have to do programming. But I like my students to know a little bit of it. I mean, even with Tableau or Power BI, if you know a little Python, you can take some of those routines, some of that code, plop it into that tool and get some things done for you. You don't have to be a programmer. Programmers have done that for you. They've written the routines. They're there. You know, find them, plop them in. But if you haven't taken a programming class, you know, it's just a foreign language. So here's Cornell University. They say, hey, we want you to understand visualizing data, know what decision making is all about, and know how we make predictions. And that's their view. You know, so much shorter set of classes, and you're just going to get a certificate. But that might be all you need to really jumpstart your career and get you focused in that area. I know a lot of Tableau folks are in the Cincinnati area, so I grabbed Cincinnati's curriculum and said, look at Cincinnati here. They've got their core courses are statistics, data analysis, data management, data warehousing with some BI dashboards sitting on top of it. Look at some of these electives that they have: data visualization, data mining, database design, data mining and BI, managing your business through these BI projects, some really great courses. So again, I'm not saying go to any university. I'm not saying look for any particular thing, but I'm saying that set of skills that you need, if you want to go all the way to the pinnacle, if you will, of saying I'm a data scientist, you want to have all of those things that I talked about in your toolkit. But you can emphasize any of those and stay in that world your entire career and be happy and be employed. You're going to definitely be employed. So couldn't go without giving a plug for mine that I'm building here now at Louisiana Tech. I showed you my old one, which is at Georgia College. Here at Louisiana Tech, I'm going the certificate route. I'm saying any business major, I want them to get a certificate in analytics. And what I want them to study is take the stat course. I'm creating that basic intro to analytics class. We'll do some advanced analytics. They'll take a predictive analytics course from our econ faculty. And then I'm going to teach an elective in visual analytics and really do visualization. And so I'm going to teach 3 classes in that certificate program. This one will be 6 credit hours. But you know, it's you don't need a whole degree in order to get into it. Albert said he got his master's in it. Here's Georgia Tech's online masters. For those of you looking online, doesn't have to be face to face. Hey, there is nothing wrong with online programs. Let me tell you, the pandemic leveled the field for a lot of us. We've all had to figure out, how do we teach online? How do we do things online? Georgia Tech's master's program is really cool. It's online. They've got a lot of great courses. I mean, just look at these courses. Introduction to Analytic Modeling. I bet they're going to get in and do some stuff with R, but I bet they'll take a look and see, you know, how's Alteryx do this modeling? What are the relationship, and what does Tableau Prep do? That's modeling. How do we model this stuff? They got a data and visual analytics class. They just have some really interesting courses. You know, you can get way off into regression analysis, time series. Really, data mining is a lot of stats underneath it. Just, you know, whatever your interest is, you can take that, dig into it, find a degree program out there that's going to build those skills for you. Because here at the end, they turn it around and say, okay, let's bring it back to digital marketing, or let's turn it back to finance, or let's turn it to security, because that's what a business has to do. It's got to do marketing. It's got to do its finance. It's got to do those things. So again, when I'm saying, why would you want to get a degree? Who do you want to get a degree with? You know, ask them, where are their alumni? Where are they working? Who's recruiting their students? What are they recruiting them for? Ask yourself, what's on your resume? What do I need to fill in? Do I need a whole degree? Do I need a lot of those things? Or do I have quite a few of those and I just need a few of them? Then maybe just a certificate in some business classes if you've got a heavy tech background, in some technology stuff if you got the heavy business background. If you've got a good math and stat and logic background, you can go from there. So again, lots of slides, lots of places to go look for stuff. Coursera, edX, LinkedIn has courses. Again, think about some of the technologies around. Yeah, do Tableau, and I've got it in here eventually, but Tableau is going to be running on AWS or Azure or Google Cloud. So, you know, why not get to know that really well to bring that skill to bear? Here's Google. What do they say? Start by looking at your experience, define where you need to fill in your gaps, boosted by targeting some hands-on skills so you can show employers, these are my skills. Build some projects so you got projects to show them, have a portfolio. Sounds like Google has been listening to me. This is what I'm preaching. This is what I advise students to do. Is that's a path. So again, you know the domain, know what's out there. Snowflake is on a roll. If you haven't looked at Snowflake yet, take a look at Snowflake. A lot of companies are moving to Snowflake. It would serve you well to know more about Snowflake or Databricks. Databricks is on a roll. Databricks is a powerful environment. You never heard of it? Check them out. See what they have to offer. Look at all of their training and certificates you can get through them. Udemy is great. Again, SQL, gotta have it. Gotta have it. You're going to use it. You need to understand it. How do I interrelate my tables? But you don't even have to spend money on this. You really don't. I mean, it's good if you got the money and you got the time and you want to invest in yourself, please do. But you can also get a lot of this stuff for free. I believe Don came and talked to this Tug before, right? So Don has been there. I follow Don on LinkedIn. Don posts stuff all the time through LinkedIn and through Twitter. You can find a lot of tips. You can learn a lot of stuff. It's a Tableau Tug. So here we go. Here you go, Tableau. Lots of free training videos. The Tableau community is fabulous. When you've got questions, get out on the Tableau forums. Jim Daner, Ken Flerlage. I mean, there's just so many great folks out there to help you. You notice Salesforce is kind of having their way with Tableau now. So Tableau is going to move over to Trailhead Academy. It's all going to move over there. But it's going to be the same idea. Here are the classes. You can sign up and get an e-learning license from them. You can go through all these different paths. Playfair Data, I think somebody around here knows something about Playfair. Playfair has some programs where you can go and take some classes and do some training. I love Ryan Sleeper. I love his books. They're great. So, there's lots of options out there. I signed up for Domestika on their $9.99 day and signed up for Frederica's class. It's a marvelous class, $9.99. Learn about visualizing stuff. And she brings her artistic background, and it's so great to get that exposure to how art can do stuff. So just lots and lots of great places out there. Luke over at Data Coach does some great stuff. They do some good stuff with Alteryx as well. You find that often. Alteryx and Tableau kind of go hand in hand in a lot of organizations. So I kind of recommend, check them out. Data School is another great option. Data School hires folks to get trained, to learn all about this, and then they place them with great companies. And so there's lots of good Data School alumni out there. And now we've got one sitting in New York. And I know that they're always looking for their next incoming set of students. So if you don't mind going to New York, I know Albert says he ain't going there, too expensive. But if you want to go to New York, Data School is a great place to go to, great place to launch that career. They got a lot of Tableau ambassadors. They got a lot of Tableau Zen masters. They got a lot of folks that go through the Data School there. Again, free resources. Tableau Tim comes out of the Data School background. He's got tons of material out there. I love the Flerlage twins. In fact, I forgot to wear it. That's what I should have worn tonight. I've got the I Am Keith Flerlage shirt because I loved when we were making fun of the twins and saying they were triplets. Tableau Public is a great place to learn. When folks will post their stuff and you can download it and try and re-engineer it and learn it, you can learn a lot through Tableau Public. And my students love going out to Tableau Public, and Kevin's Tableau chart catalog is awesome. 100 charts you can do in Tableau from 72 different authors, and they're all the names that you can imagine.
Hey, Doc, real quick, I just have a question.
Yeah.
We had a question in the chat, and you mentioned Snowflake. And I think
Yep.
the other one was Databricks as
Yeah.
being pretty hot right now.
Yeah.
Are there any other ones that you would recommend just taking a look at?
Again, those are just two that I just kind of threw out there. Really, what I tell folks really, even before those two, would be, take a look at AWS or Azure or Google Cloud. What do they got? What's out there? Because whatever company you're interviewing with, they have one or more of those. And so if you've got that on your resume, hey, I understand Google Cloud. I understand containers and Kubernetes. That's very hot. The whole open source area is big. But man, there are so many companies out there. There are it's as an industry analyst, I've just been having a lot of fun learning and seeing what's out there and what's going on. There's no shortage of places to get exposure to. One of my students went into the MicroStrategy world. Hadn't seen it in my class at all, but her employer was big on MicroStrategy. She's like, yeah, with my Tableau and Power BI background, she picked up MicroStrategy pretty quick. You know, it's that all those domains coming together helps you do that. So Ethan has been posting stuff on LinkedIn as well. You know, he's got his tips, his weekly tips that he's been putting out there. I found this book a few years ago. It was a 1914 book on doing charts by Brinton. And it's just amazing. This guy was so ahead of his time. You want some basic rules for how to develop charts? He's got 31 rules to follow. And this was 1914 where he's doing them all by hand. And the stuff still applies today. So I couldn't get away without doing some books, and I get in trouble every time I do this because somebody says, where's my book? You didn't show my book. But here's on my shelf. Here's what I recommend for students to get started. I love Ryan Sleeper's Practical Tableau. Tons of chapters, many lessons. Get going. It's great. Ben Jones' Communicating Data with Tableau is another great intro book. Dan Murray was in the Atlanta Tableau user group. His Tableau, Your Data is still a great book. I love Big Book of Dashboards. I love it. I just think it's a great way to look at a dashboard, build it, think of that business reason and build it. For Tableau prep, Carl Alchin's my go-to guy. I love Carl. Jared Flores is doing a lot with Tableau prep. He's a great resource. I like Tufte, so I had to show one of Tufte's books. They're good reading and understanding. Again, I think data storytelling is an area to focus on in the future. Lots of companies don't know how to tell the story. I'm working with one analytics company this week whose marketing message is getting lost, and we're trying to help them. Can you guys guess which one? I won't say, I'll get in trouble, but it's fun. I love it. I just love looking at these things. Here's a few more of my favorites that are sitting on my bookshelf. Knowledge is Beautiful is fun. I love the Dubois project. Don Norman's books on just how are we designing things? How do we make them useful is great. Andy Kirk, love Andy. Does a lot of good training, folks. Again, I got to have Howard's book there. I'll get in trouble. Neil Richards' Questions in Data Viz is a new one. Love it. I reviewed it when he was writing it. Stephen Craig's Don't Make Me Think is great. Alberto Cairo has a bunch of great books. His latest one is How Charts Lie. I love using his examples. And just to make things usable, Jacob Nielsen is 22 years old. It's still a great book. Most websites are not usable. They need to read Jacob's book and learn. And there's a bunch of good drawing programs out there, but I love Georgia Lupi and Stephanie. I love their book. And then last thing I'll leave you with are all of these free community initiatives out there. Great place to learn, great place to build your portfolio. I love them a lot. I start most of my students off with Makeover Monday. Find a fun data set that you like, because if you like the data, you'll learn more. Makeover Monday has 4 years of data sets. Grab one, start learning. And then, of course, I love Viz for Social Good. Let's help charities out while we hone our skills. Let's help a charity out and do good with them. So I've been working with Viz for Social Good for 5 years now. Probably time for me to hang it up and let somebody else jump in there and start doing it. And then, of course, I got to say Viz for Vets, guys. I love what you guys are doing. And I actually want to partner with you guys on your next one if we can. If we can line up Viz for Social Good and your charity and one of your projects for Viz for Vets this year, I'd love to do a crossover and have them present to both groups and have a session and whatnot. But look at that. I found 24 of these out there, and I'm sure there's more. But this is a good list, because I tell my students, you love sports, go get a sports data set and build a really good sports dashboard. Because guess what? Every team out there has analytics folks now. One of my favorite professors for the day is he works for a city football group, and we talked soccer the whole time he was talking about analytics, because it was all the stuff that he's doing for city analytics. And he's a Tableau Zen master, and I love to bring Ravi Mistry in as a professor for the day. But even if you want to learn about Romania, there's a Romanian group out there. If you want to learn about the history of Romania and grab their data sets. So I probably went way over on my time, because you wind me up when I just go. But lots of resources out there for you folks. And I just really want to avail myself to everybody in your group. If you want to contact me, I've got my own Zoom room. I'll meet with you. We can talk about, what's your resume? What does it look like? I do resume makeovers for you, because now they're all getting read by a bot. So you better learn how to get all the buzzwords on your PDF so you make it through the first hoop of the HR folks, so you never get the interview for any of these positions. But I'm on Twitter at Doc Kevin Elder. I'm on LinkedIn at Doc Elder. My email at Louisiana Tech is kelder. I also, again, work for Dresner Advisory. If any of you folks are data leaders in your organization, talk to me about becoming a data leader. We got a free program for you at Dresner. Really neat resource that we have to help grow your career at that point in your career. That's my office phone number. Don't call it. You'll get voice over IP voicemail, and mine doesn't work right now. Imagine that. But send me an email, find me on LinkedIn, find me on Twitter, grab the slides. Happy to meet with anybody, give you my advice. Again, advice is just opinions, but I've been doing this for 30 plus years, and I have alumni everywhere. And for my vet to viz folks, one of my favorite alumni is a 2-star general in the Pentagon now. Rodney is there in the Pentagon, and he did a professor for the day for me, and it was really cool. He was a C-17 pilot that I had when I taught at AFIT. So got a lot of great alumni out there. I've helped a lot of folks on their careers. And I'd love to help each and every one of you, whatever way I can. Reach out to me at whatever your point in your career is. Let me give you some advice. Let me give you some pointers, some ideas to go from. But again, the slide deck is now out there. It's posted. It's available for everybody, and now they'll have the recording. So you don't need me. But again, I would love to help out anybody. And if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But again, a lot of it is in the slide deck for you.
Yeah. Hey, Doc, you probably already went over this, but Ben had a question. He's basically asking where can he apply his basic, his basic junior skills in real world projects, kind of like freelancing, or kind of just doing the things that you just said, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I recommend the folks to go through and look at these community projects and see what they're doing. If you're in the healthcare field or area, go check out the Project Health Viz stuff that Lindsay Betzendahl does. Do a project there, look at that, and just start going into that industry. Who are the industries? What are the local hospitals? What are the local doctor clinics? Our Blue Cross Blue Shield just got bought on Monday from Elevance. So go check out Elevance. They're huge. Lots of jobs in there if you're looking at healthcare. But I recommend to build your portfolio, get some examples to show someone in an area you want to go into, and then start interviewing companies in that industry. Find the leaders in that industry. They're doing something, and they need some skills, whether it's cloud, whether it's data engineering, whether it's business analysts that also understand data. Great combination skill to have. Consulting companies are always hiring entry-level associate positions to get you started. There's lots of ways to get started. It kind of depends on what's your resume, what's the hole, what do we need to fill, and then where do you want to start interviewing from there. And it's just so many opportunities. It's just it's a great field, and it's growing. right now you see all those layoffs. Go out and try and find somebody who's laid off as a data engineer or a data architect. They're not getting laid off. They're getting hired. I got openings I can't fill. I don't have students graduating right now as I'm trying to get my classes designed and offered and whatnot. I get jobs sent to me every day that I'm like, I got nobody for you right now. Let me get more students enrolled. Let me get things going. There's lots of jobs out there. Everybody is hiring because times are tough. They got to be running more efficient. How are they going to run more efficient? They're going to run analytics. Got to do it. So again, there's all my contact info. Grab the slides, share them, share the video with folks. Contact me. I'm happy to do stuff through email, but like I say, I got a Zoom room. We can just hop in my Zoom room and we can chat, help you with whatever you might need or have a question with. With that, I'll stop sharing. So you guys got control back. I'll flip through the chat, see if there's anything I might answer from anything in the chat. But again, and I'll be here most meetings as well too. I love to come to the meetings, sit in the back row. So if anybody wants to shoot me questions or ask me stuff, I'll definitely be at your future meetings. The next one I think is February 22nd.
Yes, and we'll get that in a second, but Doc, as a thank you from us, the co-leads here, we want to present you with a challenge coin, which you're familiar with. So I'll get with you offline to get this over to you. But yeah, we'll get this over to you soon. And yeah, you can add another one to your collection. So thank you so much for your time and putting everything together for us. Oh, Jerry, do you have a question? I see you have your hand raised.
I do. I have one question for Doc. So I actually am in an organization that is kind of, I would call them pre-descriptive with where they're at, right? So I've been, that's what's happening where, you know, when you're talking about, oh, they want to figure out what's going on, all this stuff. And so like when I first started, they said, hey, what's our backlog? And I said, where is it? Like, where are you storing sales orders? And they're like, and I'm like, oh God, here we go. Right. So that's what I'm doing at this company, kind of get my arms around everything, bringing it in. I'm really struggling with talking with the CRO because he's in charge of sales. Like we don't have a VP of sales, anything like that. Right. And I'm struggling with trying to be persuasive and have a good argument. And for him and our sales team, like, I mean, I have all the arguments. I've said it several times, but it's like, it takes him to say, yes, you're going to do this so we can get the data. Right. So have you ever had like, what is a good persuasive argument that you've used that actually works? Because like a lot of them say, oh, it's Big Brother. No, I'm not trying to do that. No, I'm trying to, you know, understand like workload balancing, this and that, costs, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a cliche. My students hear me say this all the time. It's about the money.
Yeah.
All about the money. Show them the return, show them the return on investment, show them the cost savings that you'll be able to start doing for them. You know, that gets their attention.
Yeah, I'm kind of doing the reverse of that right now. So I mean, it's not the reverse, but it's kind of like, since I don't even have enough data to go off of, I'm like, hey, you're spending money in places and we have no idea.
Yep. Yeah. You've got to be able to show them the cost savings or the revenue generating. I mean, business make money. Hey, we're going to help you make money. And that again, another cliche, you got to spend some money to make some money. So we got to spend a little bit of money here, but look at the return we're going to get down the road.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
So just a couple quick more notes. Join us February 22nd. We'll be kicking off our latest data challenge with 2 data sets. We'll be going over the American soldier for World War II and the Tuskegee Airmen. First time we actually had a QR code in one of our slides, so make sure you test it. Not sure if it works. Just kidding. I'm sure Tim, whoever put it in there, probably works. But
it works. I just did it.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Sam. And then USA Jobs Board. Chris, do you kind of want to go over this since like you're like the main one doing this?
Yeah. So we have a jobs board. we got a dashboard up on our site. And basically it updates through the USA Jobs API. If you click the magnifying glass in the top right, you actually get a links for Python, SQL, Python, SQL, Tableau, Power BI, and Alteryx jobs. It kicks out to Google and basically crawls for jobs for the past 3 days. So, it gives you, like, instead of getting 100,000 hits on any of those things, you get a pretty filtered down list of maybe a hundred or so. So it kind of just like narrows down your universe if you want to search in Google for jobs. And it also, there was actually a TikTok on this, funny enough. But the search string actually goes around the whole middlemen where, some of these sites like post, but it's really on another site. It kind of cuts through all that garbage and kind of gets you what you need. So it's Python, SQL, Tableau, Power BI, and Alteryx jobs. So you get those links on the magnifying glass. Top left, the filter, it'll open up a panel and you can filter down on any number of things, but some of the things that you can filter on the USA Jobs postings on the below is, if it's flagged for National Guard, if it's flagged for military spouse, if it's flagged for veterans. And then also if you want to look for Python, SQL, Tableau, Alteryx, and Power BI jobs in the federal government, then it'll filter the table down below to those jobs. Tableau probably has, along with SQL and Python, those are probably the biggest share of the jobs that every day. During the middle of the week, you'll probably see anywhere in the federal government between probably like 55 to 70 jobs average every day. This refreshes, I think, multiple times a day. So if something gets posted throughout the day, it'll feed in there. But it's all using the API. It just all refreshes. So if you kind of bookmark this and check in and you want to get a federal job, then if these things mention it, then it'll pop up. It's probably like about 95% accurate, but every now and then you'll see a weird, you might see a weird posting that might mention something like a Python. Like my favorite USA Jobs posting ever was the wild bear program manager. That was a job. You had to like manage wild bears for the Department of Interior. And everyone I knew was like, oh, I gotta work on my resume today. Like I'm putting in for this. So it's about 95%. But if you have any of those skills, or if you just want to see what they're posting, like if they're posting for a Python developer, they're posting for a Tableau developer, and you want to see what the postings look like and what they're looking for, then this is a good resource.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for getting this set up, Chris. I know you spent a lot of time working hard on this.
Yeah, thanks. And just one more thing real quick. There's a lot of bubbles, but just zoom in on your area if you're looking for a specific area. But a lot of the postings they post, they might have like 20 locations that you can work at. So there's 20 bubbles. So, just filter it down to what you need and it'll make much more sense. All right, back to you.
Oh, awesome. Well, hey, everybody, thanks for coming. Appreciate you once again, Doc, and everyone for coming and asking questions. So we're not just sit here awkwardly looking at each other. It's always, that's never fun. So once again, catch us February 22nd, and always please, reach out if you have any questions about anything data related. Yeah, just let us know and subscribe and tell all your friends. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
I see it.